All right, I'll take it from here. And Stephanie, you're welcome to stay, or if you um, need to get going, that's entirely up to you. But I will get started. So welcome everyone. We're going to take a few minutes of your time today to discuss Blodgett Convection Oven. So we're really excited for the opportunity to share with you what makes Blodgett so special and what makes us different than other manufacturers out there. We'll then go over our product offerings and kind of explain the differences between all of our models. We'll talk about some new items that we have in the way of controllers and ventless options. And then we'll wrap up with any questions that you might have. So let's begin. Blodgett ovens. Hopefully you've all heard of the Blodgett name. We've been around since 1848 in Vermont, making various ovens, and we're most notably known for our convection ovens and deck ovens for that matter. But what makes us so special? Why Blodgett? Why would you choose a Blodgett versus some other manufacturers out there? And just as it says here, our signature features are the key to success. Our signature features are what make Blodgett a Blodgett. That's what makes it so special. Every one of our convection ovens, from our half size all the way up to our full size, our XR8 rotating rack oven, our deck ovens, all of these ovens are actually built on a fully welded angle iron frame. Okay, that gives it its structure. That gives it its heavy duty nature. I'm sure some of you have gone to visit restaurants and schools and various places, commercial kitchens that have Blodgetts that are over 30 years old. And that has a lot to do with the construction, the signature features, and of course the frame being one of them. The image on your screen, you can see the L-shaped is the piece of the frame cut away from a Blodgett oven. And you can see that it's fully welded. The bolts are welded on so that the legs adhere to it, and it's very, very strong, very heavy duty. And another manufacturer we cut the base off of, and you can kind of see how it's a unibody construction. It's bent metal, it's spot welded or riveted, and that's what creates the frame. And over time, obviously, these ovens get hot every day. The heat expands and contracts the metal, and it'll lose square. So with the heavy duty frame, we don't have those issues. It stays square. We don't run into door issues that you see here. We're definitely known for our doors. The heaviest used part of a door or of an oven on a daily basis is in fact the door. You're several times a minute. In some cases, you are opening and closing that door. So you see here a close-up of our turnbuckle assembly. It's triple mounted into the frame, okay? The triple mounted is because that the oven stays square because of the frame. And when you open and close those doors, it's also gonna stay square and they're gonna close properly. The last thing you want is for you to have to put a towel in between your doors to keep the heat in. That compromises your airflow. These ovens are designed, when our engineers look at the airflow, for that to be a closed cavity. So when air escapes, that definitely compromises your bake pattern. You lose heat, you lose efficiencies. So the doors are actually a very big part of a convection oven, and the fact that we have our frame and the doors are triple mounted into that, it makes it an important part of the entire system, and certainly one of our signature features. I think it's important to note that over time, over years, you can see that chain there in the turnbuckle assembly. You know, every once in a while that can actually loosen up over time, and I'm talking over many, many years. We have instructions on how they take that the front panel off, and you can just tighten those bolts up and you're back in action. You're back in line. There's no waving at all. Very easy to maintain. An end user can do it on their own. They don't need a service agent to come in. On other manufacturers, because it's one unibody construction, when those doors get out of whack, there's no fixing it. And it also can affect your door switches as well, which affects the functionality of your oven. So the frame, the doors, signature features, all of our ovens have this very important part of the entire Blodgett oven. So let's talk about the insulation. These are parts of the oven that you really don't think about, right? When you're looking to purchase a convection oven, you look at these ovens, they're stainless steel boxes that get hot. Why would I choose one over another? And a lot of it is the part that you can't see: the frame, the door, the turnbuckle assembly, and now the insulation. Now we use up to 3 inches of insulation, rigid fiberboard and high-temp insulation with the highest R value that we can find. And we do this because, one, we need a high R value because you're going to be able to keep all the energy in the oven where it belongs. But 2, we also keep it, it's a rigid fiberboard insulation so it doesn't sag. So byproducts of combustion is moisture. Byproducts of the cooking process is moisture. And that moisture not only stays in the cavity, it goes throughout the entire oven. It collects in the insulation, and that fluffy batt insulation, like you see on your screen now, can absorb that grease and that moisture, and then it can sag over time. And what happens there is, one, you lose your heat, you lose your efficiency. Again, bake pattern is compromised because you can get hot spots. And the fact that the insulation can just pull away and sag. With ours, I'm going to go back to that screen here. You can see that it's cut to fit in that frame. It's rigid, it stays in place. All the nooks and crannies are filled with insulation. So we're able to have the highest efficiency when it comes to our gas convection ovens, Energy Star rated at 54%. It has a lot to do with the insulation. One thing I'm just going to note, since I have this on the screen, you can see the back of the oven here with the frame, and notice that it's black. That's because the interior of the cavity is porcelainized, but we also porcelainize the back side, the part that you can't see. And that's because that moisture can actually corrode and cause some damage on the parts of the oven that are behind the scenes. And the porcelainized on both sides will actually lengthen the life of your oven because it will prevent that corrosion and wear and tear on the backside as well. Okay. So let's talk about how our burners are different. These burners are assembled and manufactured in Vermont. It's not something that we bring in. I mentioned before that we're 54% efficient. Well, that has a lot to do with the things I talked about, but also the burner. It's an in-shop burner system versus our heritage style convection ovens that we also offer, which is just a cast burner system, and that's about 46% efficient. So you're definitely gonna see a difference when it comes to your efficiency, but what you're not going to see is a quality difference. Some people think, well, if it's Energy Star or it's 54% efficient, somehow it's not going to keep up. Somehow the performance isn't going to be there. Well, when it comes to Blodgett, our engineers, knowing that we wanted to have the most efficient oven on the market, we've got customers that expect a certain amount of quality when it comes to a Blodgett, and therefore we had to make sure that recovery time didn't change, heat up time didn't change, bake pattern is improved. The performance is as expected or not better by changing to this burner design. Here's an example of one that we took from another manufacturer. It's an old style, but you can see it's pretty common in some of the economy models out there, and it's simply just a pressed metal. Max performance that you're going to get out of something like this is about 48%, usually less, but maxing out at about 48%. And you can see it works great, it's fine, but it's really how long will it last? It is just pressed metal. Again, the heat gets up to 500 degrees. That metal expands and contracts every day. Where you can see on the Blodgett in the burner box assembly, it's actually a stronger, more durable system. And these are all signature features that are included in all of our convection ovens. So let's talk about the lineup here. We've got economy, mid-range, and premium convection ovens. So by far, we have the most offerings available out there when it comes to convection ovens, and it can be a little bit confusing. So hopefully we'll be able to explain a little bit more about our offerings and help you understand what it is that we're able to provide for you all. So essentially we call it the good, better, best lineup. Our economy, we've got the show oven and the BDO. That's our bare bones basic Blodgett. What you see is what you get. It's standard depth only. No control options, single or double, and that's pretty much it. Certainly available gas and electric, natural gas, and sorry, propane. My phone just went off. I got a little distracted. But as far as the value that you get from an economy series convection oven, these models are certainly the most overbuilt out there because they also they include the signature features that we just talked about. So I would put our ovens against anybody out there. Our mid-level, mid-range series is our Zephyr series. So hopefully you've all heard of those. We have full-size and bakery depth available, again, gas and electric, okay? And I believe that this is going to be your best bang for your buck. You're going to have the ability at no additional charge to have a bakery depth convection oven. You do have the better control with the digital display. You do have the better warranty. You do have the ability of the upgrading of the controllers and being able to have just more options, but still be in that mid-range. Now our premium series is our DFG and Mark V. DFG and Mark V's are most popular in K-12 schools and other institutions, larger projects, spec jobs, hotels, higher-end restaurants. And this essentially is the cream of the crop. It is everything that you could possibly want in a convection oven in full size, half size, bakery depth, and standard depth, gas and electric, of course. And again, available in Energy Star as well. So let's dive into a little bit more of our product offerings and explain the different models a little bit. So obviously you see we have various models, and this is just some of them. But let's talk about the premium, DFG meaning dual flow gas. 100 in the Blodgett world, 100 and 200 means standard depth or bakery depth. 100 is the standard depth, 200 is the bakery depth. A lot of people will confuse that as meaning single or double. So when you're looking in our price book or online or in auto quotes, you'll see DFG 100 ES, but then you'll see a single or double behind it. And that's when you know it's a single or a double. ES means Energy Star. That's important to know for those of you who are working on projects with lead projects, for example, or you are very interested in making sure you have the most efficient product possible. You're going to want Energy Star with your gas models. We want to say ES on there because we want to make sure that your customer's getting the Energy Star. If it doesn't have ES in the model name, unfortunately, it will not be an Energy Star model. That is a different model in our nomenclature. So the Mark V is the electric version, essentially, of our premium convection oven. All of our electric ovens on the premium, mid-range, and economy are all Energy Star rated. The electric models are all Energy Star rated. So you'll wonder why there's no ES behind them. It's because they all are Energy Star rated. Okay. Again, 100 and 200s. Let's talk about warranty. Standard warranty on these models, 3 years parts, 2 years labor, and 5 years on the door. Remember I said that these are most popular in K-12 schools? Well, we're going to help those K-12 schools out, and we're going to offer them a 5-year parts and labor warranty on these premium ovens. And that's pretty important, especially nowadays when budgets are definitely cut and they need to keep their ovens running longer and longer. So the premium has all the bells and whistles you can think of. The standard controller is actually our controller that has a digital display, but it comes standard with Cook and Hold and Pulse Plus. A lot of people don't realize that because that's usually an upcharge for manufacturer. So this is a standard. Hold very simply. You cook the product and then you can hold at a certain temperature within the cavity. Pulse Plus, that's a great feature, especially if you're doing baking, where you can actually stop the fan in 30-second increments. So if you're cooking a muffin and for the first 2 minutes of the cook cycle, you want the fan to rotate on and off every 30 seconds, for that 2 minutes, it will. So your product has an opportunity to set, and that fan slows itself right down. And that's a standard feature within the premium ovens. So it's certainly something to investigate and look into. Sometimes budgets are an issue. We know that. That's where I said the value line of the Zephyrs is a great alternative if a premium is just not going to fit the bill. Just like the DFG and Mark V, you're going to have the ability to have standard depth and bakery depth. Gas is Energy Star, remember the ES nomenclature. And then the warranty, the controller, all of that is just a little less, but I think on a mid-level convection oven to have 2-year parts and labor and 3 years on the door is pretty solid. I think that's great for a mid-level convection oven. Here you can upgrade to the Cook and Hold Pulse Plus controller. You can obviously have the ability to have standard depth. You can do the prison package. You can do roll-in models. You can add the carts to make that roll-in, just like you can on the premiums that I'd forgotten to mention, okay? So there's certainly more flexibility within the Zephyr line, and it's essentially I believe it's the best bang for your buck, and that's where we want to live. When it comes to economy models, maybe the oven's not being quite used as much, or someone's just looking for a basic Blodgett. That's exactly what we are looking at when we look at the BDO and the show oven. Okay, the BDO is our Energy Star rated gas oven. You can see there by the ES nomenclature. And it is, again, 100. You see it says 100. That means it is standard depth only. The show oven is not Energy Star rated. This is our super basic model that you don't even have the option to get Energy Star rated on our show oven. The BDO has 2-year parts, 1-year labor, 1 year on the door, where the show oven, it's one across the board, okay? So if you want to think about mom and pop, someone that's new in the business, something that you want to stock for customers that are coming in, or maybe you're just starting out, but you want the Blodgett, the economy, BDO, and show is where you should definitely lean into until you need some more of those accessories that you might need to add to the Zephyr, and then again up to the premium. Okay. And let's talk about some new items. So the Simple Touch Controller is available now. We're trying to move all of our premium ovens to this model. We'll let you know when that does happen. The Simple Touch, it is a touch screen, but it also has the knob. It's very, very intuitive, very easy to use, not scary at all. You see by the diagram, it has a USB port. How great is that for recipe sharing? Because guess what? We now have programs. We have recipes that would be great if you are a school district that wants all of the recipes the same in every school, chains, multi-unit operators, or just a restaurateur that really wants to have a backup of all the recipes, diagnostics, all of that, that can happen with that USB port. Okay, so it's touchscreen, easy to use. Obviously, I mentioned the programmability, but there's also, new to this is rack timing. So amazing and so flexible to have rack timing that's also load compensating. So if you put your pizza on rack 3 and start it, and a few minutes later, you're putting a calzone on rack 4 and start that, the time is going to compensate based on the heat that's been lost in the cavity. And then once your time is up, it'll make the alarm will go off to let you know which tray is finished, and that's pretty great. Again, we still have the high-low fan, but what's great is we've also incorporated the fan delay, the Pulse Plus, the Cook and Hold. All of that is incorporated within this easy-to-use touchscreen. So these features that are typically available on your hydrovections or combi ovens now is available on any convection oven, which is a wonderful feature to be able to have. So these are available now, and definitely contact the folks at Eaton Marketing if you wanted some more information on the Simple Touch. Another new item is the Houdini. Hopefully you've all heard about that, and maybe even listened in on a webinar last month on the Houdini. So this is our ventless system that's available on our convection ovens. We're very excited about it. The EPA tests have rated this configuration to be approved to cook raw proteins. So essentially anywhere there's electricity to power the oven, you can cook anything, and especially when it comes to your raw proteins. You look at the screen, you can see there's a half size, a full size, and a double full size. That's great, very unique in the market. No one else has anything quite like this, but you can gain so much flexibility by not having to put one of these ovens under a hood, which obviously can be quite expensive. We now don't have to worry about that. These can go essentially anywhere. So how does it work? Well, the key is in the back, you can see on the diagram where the fan motor is, there's a catalytic converter. That is the key that makes this whole thing happen, okay? So there's a catalyst that is embedded within the elements. The airflow within the cavity is such that all the hot air, grease-laden vapor, everything passes through the catalyst so that 90% of the grease is eliminated right at that point. And the remaining air goes through the hood. It's got the filter and another fan and then out the vent. Very simple. It works great. Think about this, 90% of the work is being done within the cavity to eliminate the grease-laden vapor. That means that filter is only working about 10% of the time, getting that particulate out of there. Well, that also means that you're only going to have to change that filter once or twice a year. So it's pretty effective, especially if you're talking about cost savings and maintenance, because the only maintenance on this is in fact changing the filter. And you can see the lights on the hood, there's indicators to let you know when it is time to change that filter. Okay, just some super quick notes. This is electric only. It is not available in gas. It's available on our Mark V and our Zeph Airs, and hopefully you all learned about our Mark V and Zeph Airs during this presentation. Again, electric only. It does not require its own power. The oven power runs the hood, so there's no additional outlet or anything like that. There's zero clearance on the top. There's no additional footprint, backsides, fronts. You can see by the image on your screen that it just simply sits on top with no added footprint. We had a question about marine units. It's not available at this time, but we will certainly let you know, and the folks at Eaton Marketing will let you know that as well. And the image on your screen is our half size called the CTB that's under our premium line. That is actually coming later this summer. It'll be introduced. It's not quite released yet. It's called VLH. For half size, the full size in auto quotes, if you're looking for it, is VLF for full size. Great news, we have those in stock. The full size Houdinis are in stock. So please, at any time, if you need a Zeph Air or Mark V and that you'd like to make it a ventless option, please give us a call. We can get them out to you pretty darn quick. All right. So that's all I have for you today. Quick and
perfect.
But if you have any questions, Kelsey, did we have anything on the?
I don't see any.
Okay. That's because group who's obviously absorbed everything that I've just said.
Exactly. Well, thank you again for coming on, Bethany, and giving us a great presentation.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And of course, for all of you out there, certainly reach out to myself or customer service, but obviously those fine folks at Eaton Marketing are going to be able to help you with all of your questions Blodgett related. So please reach out to them as well.